My daughter disappeared at 7:43 in the morning. I know the exact time because that's when I left the apartment. She was home. The door was locked. The windows too. When I came back 2 hours later, she was gone. No traces. No notes. No security cameras in the hallway that caught anything. The cameras just didn't record those 2 hours. I'm a detective with 12 years on the job. I've worked child abduction cases. I knew every playbook. But when it happened to mine, I understood only one thing: someone knew my schedule better than I did. The first clue came 6 hours later. Not a phone call. Not a ransom demand. An envelope. Under the door. No stamp. Inside, a photograph. My daughter, Alina, sitting at a table. She's holding a newspaper. Today's paper. She's not crying. She's looking straight into the camera. On the back of the photo, 5 digits, 19847. I spent 12 years on the force. I know, there are no random numbers in messages like this. I started with what I knew. 19,847, not a phone number. Not a date. Not a lock combination. Then it hit me: 3 years ago I worked a case. Case number 19847. Child abduction in another city. The suspect released on a procedural error. My error. I pulled the archive. The victim was a girl. 7 years old. Like Alina. The suspect's father, still alive. Last known address, 5 blocks from my building. Coincidence? I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago. I drove to that address. The apartment was empty. But not for long. There was coffee on the kitchen counter. Still warm. On the wall, a schedule. My schedule. When I leave. When I come back. Where I park. Where Alina goes to school. They had been watching me for weeks. Maybe months. But that wasn't the worst part. On the table, another photograph. Me and my former partner, Igor. 3 years ago. Outside the courthouse. The same courthouse where I made that mistake. Igor died 18 months ago. Officially, a car accident. I called the archive and requested his file. Igor's file. Accident on the road. But buried in the materials, a detail I missed at the time. A week before his death, he filed a request. For the same case, 19847. He found something. Or found something someone else was looking for. I called the detective who handled his case. 2 seconds of silence. Then, don't dig into this. I mean it. Don't dig. He hung up. 10 minutes later I got a text from an unknown number. One word, walls I didn't understand. I went home. I stood in the middle of Alina's room. And then I saw it, on the wallpaper, where she always drew with markers, small numbers. She wrote them this morning. Before she disappeared. 7:43. The time I walked out the door. She knew. She left me a clue. I put it all together. Case 19,847. The suspect released because of my mistake, but the mistake was intentional. I was forced to make it. 3 years ago someone threatened me, and I gave in. I looked the other way on one detail in the report. Igor found out. That's why he's dead. The suspect's father, not just a criminal's relative. He's a former agency operative. With contacts. With resources. With access to surveillance systems. He didn't want a ransom. He wanted me to feel exactly what his son felt in that cell. Helplessness. Guilt. Fear. Alina was alive. I was certain of that. But I was running out of time. I didn't call the police. I called the man who forced me to make that mistake 3 years ago. My former chief. And I said quietly, I know everything. Tell me where she is, or I go to the prosecutor with all of it. Silence. Long silence. Then an address. A warehouse in the industrial district. 15 minutes away. I got Alina out myself. She wasn't crying. She just held me and said, I knew you'd come. I left you the numbers. 7 years old. And she already thinks like a detective. That same evening I filed a full report. Not to my chief. Directly to the prosecutor's office. 3 people arrested. Including my former chief. Case 19847 reopened. I'm no longer a detective. I handed him my badge that same day. But every night, when I put Alina to bed, she asks, Dad, is the next puzzle going to be harder? And I realize, the most dangerous puzzles are the ones where you're afraid to find the answer.